The Willowbrook hepatitis study, conducted in the 1950s and 1960s, is one of the most controversial medical studies in U.S. history, raising serious ethical questions about informed consent and the treatment of vulnerable populations. The study took place at the Willowbrook State School, a large institution in Staten Island, New York, designed to care for children with intellectual disabilities. The facility, often overcrowded and understaffed, became the backdrop for a series of experiments that would forever change the landscape of medical research ethics. The study, led by Dr. Saul Krugman, was ostensibly aimed at understanding how the hepatitis virus spreads and how to develop a vaccine. At the time, hepatitis was poorly understood, and the need for a vaccine to combat it was urgent. However, the methods used to conduct the study were deeply troubling. Dr. Krugman and his team deliberately infected children with the hepatitis virus in order to observe its effects. This was done without fully informed consent from the children's parents, many of whom were not fully aware of the risks involved. The children, already in a vulnerable position due to their disabilities, were exposed to the virus under the assumption that it was in their best interest for the advancement of science. One of the most disturbing aspects of the study was the way in which participants were chosen. The children involved were often those already suffering from mild cases of hepatitis, and some were exposed to the virus in ways that were manipulative, such as having them share eating utensils or drink from contaminated water. Others were injected with the virus directly. For many of the children, the experiment led to severe illness, while others suffered lifelong consequences from the infection. The study's findings did contribute to important medical knowledge, including a greater understanding of how hepatitis is transmitted, but the human cost was enormous. The Willowbrook hepatitis study was later criticized for its blatant disregard for the rights and well-being of the participants. In the years that followed, the study became a symbol of medical exploitation and led to major reforms in research ethics. In 1972, investigative journalist Geraldo Rivera exposed the conditions at Willowbrook, bringing public attention to the inhumane treatment of its residents. The outcry that followed led to the closure of Willowbrook in 1987, and the study became a catalyst for the establishment of stricter ethical guidelines for human experimentation. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services later created regulations requiring informed consent for research participants, particularly vulnerable populations such as children and those with disabilities. Today, the Willowbrook hepatitis study stands as a somber reminder of the need for ethical vigilance in medical research. While its findings helped in the development of the hepatitis A and B vaccines, it also underscores the importance of respecting human dignity and ensuring that scientific progress never comes at the expense of individuals' rights. The legacy of Willowbrook is one of both scientific advancement and moral reckoning.